Everyone has the potential to become a leader, like Yao and Shun, but a true gentleman will not be easily swayed by villains. Born in adversity, one's will is sharpened, but a life of ease can lead to degeneration. That was one time, and this is another. Circumstances and situations change over time. Wealth cannot corrupt, poverty cannot sway, and power cannot subdue. This is what a true man of virtue is. When in poverty, maintain personal integrity. When in prosperity, help others as well. Even if opposed by millions, I will still proceed. Forcing people with power does not lead to true submission, and power is not sufficient. Using virtue to convince people brings true and willing submission. A benevolent person is invincible in the world. I cherish life, but justice is also what I pursue. If I cannot have both, I will sacrifice my life for justice. Care for the elderly in your own family and extend that care to others elderly. Care for the young in your own family and extend that care to others young. Look up and see that you have no regrets towards God. Look down and see that you have no regrets towards people. People who use their brains manage others, and people who use their physical strength are managed by others. Those who love others will always be loved. Those who respect others will always be respected. Without ambition, one is no different from an animal. If one wishes to bring order to a chaotic world, who else but me in this present time? He who shares the joy of the people share his joy. He who shares the sorrow of the people share his sorrow. Timing is not as good as geographical advantage. Geographical advantage is not as good as unity among people. The best way to cultivate the mind is to reduce desires. Do not lose your morals when you are poor, and do not deviate from the right path when you are rich. Without rules, it is impossible to make square and round objects. Weigh, and you know the weight. Measure, and you know the length. People who give up on themselves are not worth talking to or working with. A respectful person will not insult others, and a frugal person will not rob others. The principle of a gentleman is to first cultivate oneself, then bring peace to the world. A gentleman should have a long-term sense of crisis rather than just caring about immediate interests. When heaven is about to confer a great responsibility on any man, it will first distress his mind, strain his muscles, starve his body, and expose him to poverty, so as to stimulate his will and temper his character, thereby enhancing his abilities. Fish is what I desire, and so is bear paw. When both cannot be had together, I choose the bear paw over the fish. Those who fully understand their own nature know their destiny, and in understanding their destiny, they understand heaven. I have heard of people who can serve their parents while maintaining their own dignity, but I have never heard of people who lose their self-respect and serve their parents. Benevolence is the nature of the human heart. Righteousness is the path of human conduct. When people in ancient times were successful, they would benefit the people. When they were unsuccessful, they would cultivate themselves and exercise self-discipline to show themselves to the world. The foundation of the world lies in the country. The foundation of the country lies in the family, and the foundation of the family lies in personal cultivation. If you love others but are not close to them, reflect on whether your benevolence is sufficient. If you govern others but fail, reflect on whether your wisdom is sufficient. If you show respect to others but are not reciprocated, reflect on whether your respect is sufficient. What people can do without learning is instinct. What people know without thinking is conscience. Among all matters, what is the greatest? Serving one's parents is the greatest. Among all responsibilities, what is the most important? Guarding one's own integrity is the most important. A gentleman maintains his heart with benevolence and cultivates himself with propriety. If the monarch regards his subjects as brothers, then the subjects will regard the monarch as their confidant. If the monarch regards his subjects as dogs and horses, then the subjects will regard the monarch as an ordinary person. If the monarch regards his subjects as grass, then the subjects will regard the monarch as their enemy. Compassion is the beginning of benevolence. A sense of shame and disgrace is the beginning of righteousness. A sense of yielding is the beginning of propriety. Discernment of right and wrong is the beginning of wisdom. There are 5 ways a gentleman teaches, some like timely rain, some by forming virtue, some by managing wealth, some by answering questions, and some by private instruction. The people are most important, the state comes next, the ruler is least important. A person's fault lies in the desire to teach others without knowing how to reflect on oneself. Those with stable property have a stable mind, while those without stable property do not have a stable mind. The function of the mind is to think. Only by thinking can you gain something. Without thinking, you cannot gain anything. A person must have done something to insult himself before others can insult him. When a person is about to die, their words are kind. If you uphold justice, you will gain support and help from many sides. If you violate justice, you will inevitably be isolated. Honesty is the law of nature, and the pursuit of honesty is an essential quality of being a human being. A gentleman is ashamed when his reputation exceeds his actual virtues. Wealth and honor are what people desire. If they are not obtained by proper means, they should not be accepted.